Good morning, y'all. How is it going today? You already know who it is. It's your girl, Janelle motherfucking Williams, back with her podcast, What is Grief? Mm, well, I have actually been looking up, and I don't want to say looking up because I ain't been looking shit up, okay? I ain't been doing it. But I just been realizing, like, when I go throughout my day, that there are different outlooks on what grief is, right? So I was watching this episode of, here, let me see if I can look it up real quick. But I was watching this episode of, what the fuck is that show called? Disenchantment, right? It's on Netflix. And it's season 5, episode 1. I'm gonna share my screen with y'all so y'all can see this part of the episode if they'll fucking show it. So season 5, episode 1. And Elfo, like, I don't know if y'all follow this show or not, but Elfo was talking to Bean's dead body, basically. And he says something along the lines of I feel like the hardest part about grieving you is the simple fact that, like, there's still shit that we haven't went through yet that I would have wanted us to go through. Like, it was something similar to that. So let me take a look. Let me see if I could find it. And if not, then I guess I'll just have to go to my own personal computer screen or TV screen to show it. Oh no. Yeah. For some odd reason, it's not pulling it up, y'all. It looks like I might have to actually log into Netflix for this one, y'all. So maybe, let me see. Let me just find it. Maybe y'all be able to listen to it. Y'all ain't gonna be able to see it, but y'all be able to listen to it. Let me see. So like I said, it was episode 1, season 5 of Disenchantment. The main character's name is Bean. It's Tia Beanie, but they call her Bean. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if y'all actually watched this or not. But I wanted y'all to see this part at least, because when he said it, I was like, whoa! Like, no one will actually ever say this out loud again. Like, you know what I mean? Because people don't really get a chance to talk about when they are in grief, y'all. And that is what's really, like, hurting me, is the fact that I have so much grief and I cannot talk about it. I can't talk about it to anybody. Well, okay, that's a lie. I could to my sister. But you know, she's going through her own little bouts of grief and shit. So I can't push myself off on her like, hey, take care of me, only focus on me, forget your grief. Like, that's not fucking fair. Grief, emotional distress caused by or as if by bereavement. That's from Merriam Webster. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and skip to the end part, because I'm telling y'all, when y'all hear him say this, y'all, this is gonna resonate with y'all so much that y'all gonna be like, wow, like, I need to watch the rest of this the rest of the episodes. But I mean, it's not, this isn't a peeler for grief. This episode is not a peeler for grief. Okay, I don't want y'all to think that. I'm just using it because he said something that resonated with me. But I can definitely tell y'all, like, most TV shows, like, I think they said what was that show? The Winnie the Pooh. I guess Winnie the Pooh is like one of those shows that takes human emotion and characterizes them into like individual characters. Well, this show, it shares some similarities with that ideal, but it's not what they are doing specifically. We almost there, y'all. We almost there. All right.
Something her wrong. Sir, stolen whatever. Don't with instructions. It's her.
Oh, it's not working. Next time, y'all be logged into my Netflix so you can see it.
Elfo, what the hell is going on in here?
Haven't you ever seen a romantic group session before?
Him? Really? Oh, my God, you're so much better than that mini elf. Hey, the word mini is implied in the word elf.
Mm.
If I find out you're lying to me, the only thing you'll be kissing is your ass. Goodbye. Okay, goodbye.
Wow, that was almost bad, huh?
What? No, it's not you. I always flinch when I'm touched, so that's like a got it. You mean Dagmar. Okay, yeah. No, okay. Yeah, no, that was bad. Really super bad.
Yeah, I should probably go mop something or something.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Don't mop too hard. Don't mop too hard. What are you thinking?
Elfo beating himself up. All right.
Bean, can I call you that? I know you're just the torso of the evil version of somebody I knew, but
This part.
You'll do. Oh, clammy. You know what they never tell you about grief, Bean? Well, apart from the emotional eating, they never tell you that the worst part isn't missing the past we had, it's missing the future we'll never get. I wasted so much time wanting you to be something else for me. I didn't appreciate what you were. My friend. My best friend. I'm so sorry. From here on out, there's going to be a hole in the world where you're supposed to be. Goodbye, Bean. Oh, Elfo.
So, that shit right there, y'all. Did y'all hear what he said? Hopefully you did. And what he said was he is more upset not about the past, not about missing who she was, but basically about never actually accepting her for who she was. Like it wasn't about missing who she was, but it was basically not accepting her for who she was. And that's what really like hurt him. He's like, bro, like if I would have just accepted you for who you really were when you were here, and it was my best friend, somebody who I could actually talk to and be, friends with, I wouldn't be in this situation, or I wouldn't miss you as much as I do. So that right there, y'all, that is what we're talking about today. We're talking about missing someone who we can no longer get in contact with. So I do want y'all to know, by the time I was 21, I had a divorce, right? I was married when I was 18, got a divorce by the time I was 21. The whole time, my mom had been there, been around, trying to give the support as best as she could. And one thing that my mom used to say all the time to me was, why can't you just love me for the way that I am? Like, why can't you accept the way that I can love you, right? And I never understood that. I was like, what do you mean? Why can't I just accept you for who you are? Why can't I just accept the love that you're giving me when you're giving it to me? And it was just really bad because I had an expectation of her that was not realistic. And even now, like in death, I have an expectation of her that's not realistic. Do any of you out there have any expectation that's like that? Anything that makes you want to be like, well, maybe if I just did this, or well, maybe if I just did that or if it didn't look like this. Like, do y'all have any of that? Because I do. And I just want y'all to know that that is a comfortable part of grief. It's okay to grieve the person that never was. A little bit, y'all getting nervous. I was like, what's going on? But getting back to my divorce though. So I feel like the hardest part about being divorced was knowing that he was still walking around, right? Knowing that he still could go out and do whatever he wanted. And he did not have to think of me. And why is that grievance of divorce so much harder or less hard than grieving somebody who's actually left? Well, it's because, well, for me, it was less hard for me because with my mom, I know I can't go back to her. I know I can't go to her, I can't call her on her phone. I know I can't go to her cemetery plot and she actually start talking to me. Like, I know I can't do that, right? But the fact that he's still alive and I have the ability to do that is what's causing me more grief because I cannot do it. Like, well, I mean, I can, but I'm being stopped. And what's stopping me? Morality. Me wanting to be moral enough to let him go. You know what I'm saying? To allow him to live his life without me. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with that. Those are like the borderlines of grieving in life and grieving in death. You know what I'm saying? Here, let's see if we could find find some videos on grief. And you know what? These are all questions and situations that are true to me, y'all. I have a lot asked myself, like, will I ever recover from this? And then a lot of times, like, I don't know if it was that way for y'all, but for me, I had to um, bury my mom and write her obituary. And I noticed when I had someone else that was close to me who passed away that I was almost unable to, how do you say? I was almost unable to, I was almost unable to even write down words about how much they meant to me. You know what I'm saying? And no matter what I told them, like if I was like, hey, like I love you, you were my best person, like da 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 da, whatever's whatever. But when it came down to writing things for my mom, I could do it because it was almost like I was prepared to do it. You know what I mean? But anybody else who's recently passed away, I haven't been able to do it. And it's not just because I can't, but it's more like to put into words as if they're not there anymore. You know what I mean? Like to really think to yourself, like, what is the nicest thing that I can say about somebody that I genuinely care about that doesn't sound like bullshit? You know what I mean? It doesn't sound like I'm just making it up out of my ass or that I just want them to sound a certain way. And then I realized I couldn't do it because it wasn't about it sounding like bullshit. It was more about I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to release those feelings out into the world, to actually make it a statement to say, like, they're no longer here. And that's what that statement was for me. It was saying that my best friend, who I told all of my secrets to, was no longer here. And honestly, that's really the hardest part of having any level of grief for me is not having anyone there to be like, oh my God, bro, like you're not going through this, but at least you know me as a person and you know how I would react to certain things. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's the hardest part is knowing that someone that I didn't think that it would be their time to leave has left. Hmm. All right, guys, we need a little break real quick.
Hey man, just wanna let you know that sometimes you gotta shut the fuck up. You gotta shut the fuck up. And this current time is just one of those times you gotta shut the fuck up. I don't think you're a bad person, I just don't want to hear you talking anymore. Hey man, just wanna let you know that sometimes you gotta shut the fuck up. You gotta shut the fuck up. And this current time is just one of those times you gotta shut the fuck up. I don't think you're a bad person, I just don't want to hear you talking anymore.
Whew. All right, y'all. I needed that little break. This is probably gonna be a short live just because I don't think that a lot of people I don't feel you know what? I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know if it's a feeling, I don't know if it's thought, I don't know. I don't know. And maybe that's it. I just don't know how other people process their grief. And the only reason why I say that is because a lot of times I feel like I've been being putting myself in situations. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you guys a better for instance. So, for instance, um, I had a manager at a job and she had breast cancer. She went out for like a month. I stepped up in order to cover her shifts to make sure that, shit could flow. But when I was doing that, I had a couple of coworkers who I felt, I don't know, wasn't either doing what they could have been or should have been. And it made it more difficult on me. Like it made me not want to like interact with them because I didn't feel like they were given the same amount that I was given. And then when I started to really think about it again, I was like, wow, bro, like you're putting these people in a predicament to let you down. You know what I'm saying? Because you're believing that they're going to have the same initiative that you have, and they obviously don't. You know what I mean? You believe that they care the same amount that you do, and they obviously don't. And that was kind of like what was the hardest part for me was accepting that people aren't going to treat other people the way that I want them to treat them. And that was a part of my grief too, because I realized that I was doing the same thing to my coworkers and my manager that I was doing with my siblings and my mom. So when it came time for my mom to pass away, I felt like I was the only one doing everything because of that was my level of grief. When it came time to helping my manager and have my coworkers to have my back, then I started to feel some type of way because they weren't showing the same initiative that I was. They wasn't showing the same care that I was. Basically mirroring the same actions that I had to deal with when it came time with my mom, with my siblings. And I was like, whoa, that's a lot to unpack. Like you cannot expect these people to react the way that you're reacting. So I don't know. Maybe that's like another level of grief is um putting your own personal projecting your own personal feelings off on somebody else, or an attachment issue. Maybe I saw my boss and I assumed because she was a mom that and she could see the type of person that I was that she would be more mothering like, I don't know, or more mothering like my mom. I don't know. Either way it goes, I do know that when I'm walking through and I have like an issue with someone, or like I'm, how do you say, I'm being unreasonable. You know what I mean? Like I do then realize like, hey, like you're only being unreasonable because you want this to happen, or you want that to happen, or you thought it was going to happen this way and it's not happening that way. So how do I take myself back to be like, hey, you know, you're noticing that you're doing things that aren't regular. You're noticing that you're doing things that you would have done it for your mom or your grandma or somebody that you gave a fuck about. But you can't keep pushing that energy off on other people because everybody else is not going to appreciate your kindness the way that your mom or your grandma or somebody else that you really gave a fuck about. So I don't know, y'all. So I don't know if you're doing anything like I'm doing and you're deciding to push your feelings off on other people, you're projecting, you're seeing the likeness, like someone who you care about, you see their likeness in someone else, right? So if you're doing anything like that, I promise you, boo, you are grieving, and I want you to know that you are not by yourself. Okay, you can't do it alone, and it's okay. You don't have to do it alone because there are people like me who are here so you can talk it out with. All right. Well, guys, like I said, this is going to be a short one. This was a What is Grief moment brought to you by Janelle Williams. Have a good day.